It's very common for people to confuse kindness with weakness, where you're trying to be a decent person, a nice guy, and they think that because of that, they can take advantage of you. This has certainly happened to me, and it's incredibly annoying. And it's incredibly disruptive when the hard side of me, the stronger side of me, comes out. You know, they've thought, oh, he's such a nice guy all the time, you know, CRP is so cool and this and that, he's so nice. And then all of a sudden, you know, the claws come out because somebody is messing with something I don't want them to mess with, or they're not doing what I want them to do or whatnot. And then all of a sudden they think I'm an asshole, that I'm evil and this and that, the other. And they're like, oh, he's totally not what I thought, right? It actually is a problem. Yeah, because what's going on is that people had a particular view of who you were. And then all of a sudden when the claws come out, they have a completely different view of you. And that disparity is cognitive dissonance. Yeah, to use highfalutin psychiatric psychological phrases, cognitive dissonance. Yeah, they thought one thing about you and it turns out something completely different. Okay, this happens more often than you would think, especially with people who have strong personalities, people who aren't willing to take shit. This happened to me a lot, whereby I would show like the nice guy side. And I tend to be very much of a people person, and I like it when other people like me. And so on social situations and inner exchanges, right, I tend to be not passive or compliant, but I try to get people to like me. And I agree with them, whatever they're saying. But when you get to a point where, you know, you're messing with what I want or my things, I'm going to pull out the claws and I'm going to be a fucking asshole. And that's when they stop liking me. Oh yeah. So there are two approaches to this situation. Either you can be an asshole all the time, and so there's no cognitive dissonance, and people know that you're an asshole, and that's that, right? Or if your conscience or who you are, you just want to be kind to people, but at the same time you don't want them to confuse that kindness with weakness, well, then you have to put a little bit of a display every once in a while, and you got to be smart about it. And let me explain. You see, it's all good and fine to be nice, but you have to sort of like show to people in the environment that you're in that you're not going to be a pushover. And the way to do that is if something happens where you're going to stand up for yourself, for yourself very firmly and perhaps even aggressively. And in that situation, you have to make sure that the other people in your milieu, the other people in your environment, see you dealing with this situation. See you dealing with this challenge. See that you're a nice guy to them, but when shit gets heavy, when the chips are down, when the claws need to come out, they're gonna come out, and you're gonna fucking be tough, hard, yeah? And these other people, they gotta see you do that. Yeah, and the beauty of this is that, of course, they see you being very hard on X, not them, on X. And then all these other people realize, oh yeah, he's a nice guy, but when shit gets heavy, he's not going to have a problem being a son of a bitch. And they're going to respect you more. And point of fact, how can I put this? Niccolo Machiavelli in The Prince wondered aloud whether it was better to be loved or feared. And he said it was better to be feared, because people would confuse somebody who is loved with somebody who is weak. And the fact of the matter is, old Niccolo was right. Machiavelli was completely right. Sometimes, just to save yourself headaches, it's better to be considered a son of a bitch than to be considered a nice guy. Yeah. Because you see, a lot of times when you try to be kind, when you try to be a nice guy not in the cucked out sense, but a nice guy of just being kind and helpful to people and whatnot, see, that very niceness, that very kindness sometimes invites challenges. And people will challenge your position precisely because they confuse that kindness that you have with weakness. Sometimes, especially like for instance in business settings or company settings or your occupation, your job, whatnot, it's better to be thought of initially as a son of a bitch, as a mean bastard, and only then, little by little, show that you're a kinder person. To tell you the truth, now that I think about it, that's really been my approach as of late over the last couple of decades. Sometimes I come across too hard initially so that people will know that they can't fuck with me. And only then I start showing myself kinder, excuse me. Only then I start showing that I'm not a total asshole, that I can be kind and I can be helpful and thoughtful. But only after establishing my bona fides of being a son of a bitch. Because people confuse kindness with weakness. And when that happens, yeah. Actually, it's really weird because I had notes on this particular video and I was going to go in a completely different direction. But as I'm talking out my notes and my thoughts on this particular issue, I realized that, Machiavelli was right. You gotta show toughness. You have to inspire fear in people, especially the people who work for you. Because the fact of the matter is, people will always try to take advantage of kindness. It's human nature. It's been my experience on 3 separate continents that whenever I've had some employee, somebody working for me or doing something for me that I was paying them good money for, when they perceived me as being just kind and easygoing, they took advantage of me. It took a lot longer than it should have. It was just like a mess. But when they were scared of me, and not me barking all the time, but them knowing that I wasn't going to fuck around, then the job got done quicker. The thing was done better, on time, under budget. It's human nature. And it's kind of upsetting because, a lot of times, especially in your work life, where you spend most of your conscious time, you want people to consider you to be a kind person. I mean, nobody's thinking to themselves, nobody's waking up in the morning and saying to themselves, oh yeah, I hope everybody thinks I'm an asshole by the end of the day. Nobody's thinking that. Of course not. You want people to like you. It's perfectly normal, especially the people who work with you. Jesus, the thing is, I had all these notes and I'm realizing that most of my notes were wrong in the sense of like trying to be kind, because as I'm remembering specific incidents, I'm realizing that it was only when I was tough and hard at the beginning that things worked out for me. Let me give you an example. When I directed my picture, right, I directed one feature-length motion picture, and it did okay, but that's not the point. The point is, see, when we were shooting the thing, right, it was a big crew, about a couple hundred people, whatnot, not to mention the actors and this, that, the other. And the head of makeup, this woman, I tried to be kind to her. And she was like an older lady. I mean, she was maybe at that time, she must have been in the late 40s. I mean, I was like 36 at this time. So I guess not that much older, but anyway. She was older and she'd been around for a while. But the thing is that she was always late with the makeup, okay? There was always a problem with the makeup. We were all, as the crew, standing around waiting for the makeup to be done, rather than her having done things so that the actor was in makeup ready when we were ready to do the shot. It was sort of like we would do the whole setup with the lighting and the grips and whatnot. And then the actor would show up and we're like, oh, where's the makeup? Oh, well, we have to do the makeup. And we fucking wait. We're waiting, standing around, waiting for the makeup to get done when all this other stuff was all set to go. And she had had the time before to do the makeup, but she hadn't because she was lazy and sloppy and because she wasn't afraid of me. I was the director of the picture. And because she was older, I'd wanted to get into her good graces. I'd wanted her to think well of me. I wanted her to think that I was a nice guy. I hadn't had that approach with the grip department. Fuck no. The grip department from the get-go, they were kind of like scared of me, right? And the lighting department too. Yeah, because I have a temper. And with other guys especially, I don't have a problem showing that temper. It's with women that I have a problem showing my temper. Yeah, because automatically when women are around, I tend to like chill out. And I'm nicer, and I'm consciously nicer. And that's the thing that I realized afterwards, retrospectively. With the makeup lady, she was a lady, and I was deferential to her. I was a nice guy. I was kind to her. With the grips, they were all guys, big burly guys, right? I didn't have a problem shouting at them and telling them to get their asses in gear and to get the grips in order and whatnot, and get the lighting where it's supposed to be and do it right now, right? I didn't have a problem with that, and so they respected me and they did it. And it was great because they liked me because, yeah, I was a son of a bitch, but I knew exactly what I wanted. There was no insecurity. They liked that, okay? So the grip department, the lighting department, no problem. It was makeup. Makeup was a hassle because of this flaw that I had. That when I had to deal with a woman, I was overkind. In the end, I think it was like 2 weeks into the production, I fired the makeup woman. Yeah, I fired her and her whole department. Got rid of the whole lot and replaced them with new people. And the new people knew what was what, because they were also women, because makeup departments tend to be women. But the makeup and hair department that came in to replace them, they knew that the previous woman had been fired, her whole team had been fired, and that I didn't have a problem doing it, that I would do it again if need be. I'd go through as many makeup and hair teams as necessary in order to get this production done. The second makeup department, no problem, yeah? And I was kind to them, but you see the point. You see, I'd fired the previous team. I'd shown my claws, right? The new team that came in to replace, they knew that they were coming in to replace a previous team. And they knew that I was the son of a bitch who would fire them if they didn't do their job. And so, of course, then I could afford to be kind, afford to be nice. People are like this, you know? People never change. You go to different countries, different times, different eras. If you have a time machine, go back 200 years, 500 years, 5,000 years, or go into the future another 5,000 years. People don't change. When they perceive kindness, they will confuse it with weakness. And when they perceive weakness, they will be lazy, they will be slow, they won't really care or pay attention or give it their best shot. That's a fact of life. And it's just so goddamn annoying, because you as a man who is leading, you as a man who are in charge of a project, a business, whatever, you don't want to be an asshole. You want to be kind. And you want to go up to people and say, could you please do this? And you want their response to be, of course I'll do it. I'll do it right away. And they go and do it right away. That's what you want. But the fact of the matter is, you know, people, they got to be scared of you. Machiavelli was right. They will not respect you if they love you, but they will respect you if they fear you.